I'm Max, 17 last summer, and the plan sounded harmless. A backyard campout at Lucas' house to celebrate finishing junior year before everyone scattered for pre-college tours. His folks owned 3 wooded acres on the edge of town, plenty of space for a fire pit, some s'mores, and the four of us pretending we were miles from civilization. My parents signed the permission slip in 2 seconds. Lucas's dad was a retired firefighter, his mom a nurse. If any sleepover location qualified as overinsured, it was theirs. The roster that Friday, Lucas, me, Aiden, and Cade. We pitched 2 4-person tents 20 yards behind the deck, just past the pool fence where trimmed grass surrendered to waist-high ferns and maples. Lucas's dad strung solar lights between trees so the yard glowed like a festival ground. Inside tent 1, Lucas and I unrolled pads beside a battery lantern. Aiden and Cade claimed tent 2, closer to the woods. By dusk, we demolished a pizza and roasted sticky marshmallows. Lucas's mom handed out bug spray, kissed her son's forehead, and retreated indoors by 11, promising to keep patio lights on. Stars pushed through patchy clouds. Aiden broke up with his ex over text again and declared we needed single guy bonding, which translated to ghost stories around embers until the fire guttered. Midnight brought a damp chill. We doused coals with the garden hose, zipped tent doors, and duked it out on Lucas's switch until batteries cratered. Sometime after 1, I woke needing to pee. Crickets drilled the air, and the solar lights cast weak halos. I used the fence gate instead of the house bathroom teen pride. No one wakes parents. As I zipped up, motion caught my periphery. A tall shadow beyond the last leg post, maybe 30 yards in the tree line. My brain filed it under deer, though we hadn't seen any earlier. I whispered, "Sup, Thamby," and slid back into tent warmth. At 2:30 a.m., twigs snapped near tent 2. Lucas mumbled in sleep. I listened, hush, then crunched deliberate footfall weight. Not raccoon scatter. A low thud followed, like someone dropped a bag. I rose, unzipped door an inch, peered out. Solar bulbs flickered. Between the tents stood a figure, tall, hood pulled, back toward me, rummaging through Aiden's shoe pile. Streetlight from the deck framed him enough to register he wasn't one of us too broad for Cade. Posture wrong for Lucas's dad. Fear flashed bright and raw. Before words reached my throat, the stranger straightened, pivoted toward tent 2, and unzipped its flap in one smooth pull. Aiden's shout cracked the night. "Dude, not funny!" Stranger dove inside. Chaos exploded, fabric thrashing. Cade yelping, Aiden cursing. I bolted for Lucas, shook him awake. His eyes widened fast when screams registered. He grabbed the camping hatchet we'd used for kindling, shoved me behind, and barreled out barefoot. I followed, brandishing a tent pole. Aiden tumbled backward out his tent, hoodie half off, face bleeding from a scratch. Stranger crawled out next, clutching a drawstring Bagcade's DSLR case. Hat pulled low. He sprinted for the trees. Lucas' face, hatchet raised, but years of weeding lawns dunged to match track legs. Stranger vanished into black brush in seconds. All I managed was a hoarse, "Hey, that sent nightbirds," flapping. Cade staggered out, camera gone, lip trembling. We corralled inside Lucas's kitchen. His parents raced down in robes. Dad flipped floodlights, scanned woods while dialing 911. Aiden's scratch proved shallow. Ego bruises deeper. Deputies arrived in 8 minutes. Footprints in soft soil matched work boots, size large. No tire tracks near gravel drive. Burglar, they said. Maybe casing unlocked houses along Greenbelt. They took statements, warned us to secure valuables, left at 3:40. Lucas's parents insisted we sleep in the den. Pride stung, but Adrenaline drained, we agreed. Fort Tenham, house quiet, lights dimmed. I lay on couch staring at ceiling fan. Rain began, soft. Tap at patio door startled me. The vertical blinds swayed, though a silhouette pressed against glass. Same hood, this time face closer than reflection distance. He'd circled back. I whispered Lucas's name. He sat upright, eyes tracking mine, followed my gaze. Stranger lifted one gloved finger, tapped glass 3 times. Slow. Lucas's dad's footsteps thundered. Blind slapped as he yanked cord. Stranger disappeared. Yard empty, but gate latch clicked metallic outside. Dad flung door but stayed on deck, rain slicking wooden planks. Deputies returned, scouring woods with canine. Dog found nothing beyond trampled fern trail toward the creek. They posted a cruiser out front till dawn. Sleep ended there. Morning light revealed boot prints atop our original tracks. Intruder had paced perimeter earlier, unseen. Lucas's mom spotted fresh scrape marks on pool house door latch. Inside pool house, deputies found pry marks and a forgotten nylon strap same blue as Kade's camera bag. They suspected thieves stashed loot there, planned second pass to grab more. Afternoon search downstream recovered Cade's DSL, ours submerged in waterproof bag beneath bridge piling. Memory card gone, but camera intact. Nearby, officers found another bag containing wallets, house keys, and 2 iPad minis reported stolen from adjacent subdivisions days earlier. Local news ran a segment. Prowler keeps trophy memory cards, steals during backyard parties. Security footage from a neighbor 2 streets over showed a tall man wearing reflective forestry jacket walking creek trail nights prior. Police canvassed tool rentals, found a worker who noticed jacket logo cut off. Lead fizzled. School resumed. Weeks slid by. October's first cold snap hit. Lucas installed motion cams. Nothing triggered till Halloween weekend. At 3:02 a.m., camera pinged. Figure at the same patio door. Tapping lens. Holding something. Cade's missing memory card. Police sprinted but missed him again. Card contained hundreds of candid sleepover photos from other houses. Kids around fires. Tents glowing shot through long lens from tree lines. Hours joined the set. Me mid-pee. Aiden shirtless complaining. Lucas laughing over nachos. Forensic techs spotted EXIF data. Lens type uncommon. Sold primarily to land survey companies. Cross-check flagged a terminated surveyor, Evan R., arrested 2 years earlier for trespassing, but charges dropped. Address sat 5 miles downriver. SWAT raided his trailer. Walls plastered with creek map printouts and family photo collages labeled comfort nights. Hard drives hosted video of tents, hands easing zippers, cameras sliding out, subjects sleeping unaware. Surge of evidence ended chase. Court testimony revealed Even lived in woods after losing job, fascinated by peaceful moments of people outdoors. Stealing mementos matured into thrill. His boots matched prints. Pool house pry marks matched his screwdriver. Judge called him a voyeuristic burglar. He pled guilty, serving 8 years. We've outgrown backyard tents. Cade upgraded gear, but stores it locked. Lucas's parents placed sensor lights along the creek edge. Neighbors installed fences. I still camp, but every unzip of nylon sends memory jolts of a hooded shape bending into shadows. Fingerprints on a lens, and the knowledge that while we toasted marshmallows loud enough to drown footsteps, someone cataloged our laughter as part of his collection. Waiting for the right quiet moment to reach in and claim souvenirs from what we thought was safest ground. We were 16, too old for Sleepover to sound cool, too young for anyone's parents to leave us unsupervised. The compromise was Reed's birthday. 4 friends, 1 finished basement, and his mom upstairs promising nachos and early night. Reed's dad traveled for work every other week, so the sprawling ranch outside Maple Falls felt half-empty dark hallways, squeaky ducks, plenty of space to pretend we were adults. The cast that Friday, me, Reed, Gavin, and Jonah. We hauled blankets down the narrow steps at 8 p.m. The basement looked like a Netflix prop plaid couch, giant beanbag, retro arcade cabinet that only played Frogger. The best feature was the sliding glass door opening to a patio in the woods. At dusk, the forest became a single sheet of black behind our reflections, cooler than any TV backdrop. Reed's mom, Mrs. Fletcher, dropped off microwave nachos and said good night at 9:30, reminding us to keep the door latched. Then we were alone, 4 sleeping bags forming a star around a coffee, tables stacked with energy drinks, and a single unblinking ring light for Reed's vlog. He insisted on filming birthday confessions. We mocked him but played along. By 11, the sugar crash hit. Gavin challenged everyone to a long jump contest between 2 couch cushions. Jonah tweaked the playlist until lo-fi drowned chatter. I sat on the floor sorting playing cards when I noticed the patio door's blinds weren't fully closed. A 2-inch gap showed our ring-lit scene reflected, and beyond, a faint shimmer of movement, like someone crossed the deck. I leaned closer. Reflection swallowed detail. "Close the blinds, man," Gavin called, voice jittery from energy drinks. Reed tugged them shut, snapping plastic. "No jump scares tonight," he declared, waving the camera. Midnight, ring light off, only the TV's menu drifted blue rectangles across ceiling. Jonah pulled out a flash drive of short horror films he'd edited cheap practical effects. Fake blood under black light. We roasted him until sudden thunder rolled overhead. Maple Falls hadn't seen rain in weeks. Now wind rattled the patio door. Halfway through Jonah's 3rd film, the basement lights flickered. TV dropped to black. Reed's UPS battery chirped and kept his camera alive, its LED blinking red. "Storm surge," Jonah muttered, unplugging the console. We found cell flashlights. Mine showed the sliding door latch still locked. Beyond the glass rain sheeted down. A single garden chair spun on its leg. Mrs. Fletcher texted from upstairs. "Power's down for a second, stay put. Storm's quick." We huddled circle style, telling worst school memories while lightning strobe lit the blinds. At 12:42, Gavin needed the bathroom upstairs. Basement only had a half-finished storage room with a slop sink. He sprinted the stairs, phone torch bobbing. 2 minutes later, his scream tore through the floorboards. "Reed, come up now." We scrambled. Reed led. Camera forgotten. At the top stair, Gavin shook, pointing down the hallway toward Reed's dad's study. The study door, normally shut, stood ajar. On the hardwood floor lay Mrs. Fletcher's phone. Screen spider cracked. Reed called out, no answer. Thunder muffled everything. Gavin insisted he'd heard footsteps and maybe a thud. Jonah dialed 911. Spotty service stalled. I dialed again. Connected. Whispered our address. Dispatch asked about forced entry. We hadn't checked. Reed pushed into the study. Lamps were off, but his dad's office windows faced the porch roof. Lightning flashed, illuminating dust motes and a damp boot print on the carpet, heel pointing deeper inside. Desk drawers gaped open, papers scattered. A breeze lifted a curtain. The window's lock dangled, metal tongue bent. Someone climbed in. We backed down the hall calling for Mrs. Fletcher until she answered from her bedroom, groggy. She'd taken a sleep aid at 10, heard nothing. Reed escorted her to the kitchen where she called his dad. Voicemail. Dispatch finally patched through, promising deputies in 6 minutes. While Mrs. Fletcher locked bedrooms, we padded back to the basement to hole up. Halfway downstairs, Jonah hissed, "Wait." On the lowest step lay Gavin's missing sweatshirt. He'd left it on the beanbag earlier. Now it had a wet smear on the sleeve, mud, or maybe something else. The sliding blinds, slightly open again, kept wide as 2 fingers. Reed whispered, "Someone's here." Gavin argued wind must have rocked the track. I hugged the wall, thumb hovering on flashlight app. Rain eased. A new sound emerged, soft scraping like cardboard dragged on cement, coming from the unfinished storage room behind the water heater. Storage door stood ajar. Jonah shook his head, mouthed "Don't," but Red tugged it wide. Our lights swept shelves stacked with Christmas bins, a rusted treadmill, and 3 cardboard wardrobe boxes labeled Dad's Archive. Lid on the middle box lifted, top flaps bowed outward. Inside, half pulled, lay one of Reed's dad's suits. Pushed to the bottom, half hidden, a black nylon backpack we'd never seen. Footsteps overhead, deputy arrived, calling. We exploded upstairs. 2 deputies swept rooms, secured windows. Basement search found no intruder. The nylon backpack? Empty except disposable gloves, screwdriver, and binder clips. Prints smudged by rain. Officers guessed burglars saw lights. Panicked. Fled out window before we discovered him. Maybe tried basement for exit, but retreated. They left at 2:30, promised extra patrol. Mrs. Fletcher offered living room floor. Boys refused to show fear. We dragged sleeping bags back downstairs, strength and routine. I volunteered first watch, heart battery drumming. 3:05 a.m., Gavin snored. Rain slowed to drips. My phone flashlight faced the window. Then, as sure as breath, the blinds parted, 2 slats lifted from outside. A face pressed to glass. Man, mid-30s, soaked hoodie, eyes pale and desperate. In his right hand, screwdriver poised. Our gazes locked. I screamed. He backed off, sprinted across patio. Reed bolted upright. Saw nothing. My voice was enough. Deputies returned within 5 minutes, tracking muddy prints from porch through woods toward the creek. They recovered the screwdriver 30 yards away, the same tool from backpack. Plastic handle bore initials. CF. Charles Fletcher, Reed's dad. Phone finally rang. Mr. Fletcher. He was safe in a hotel 2 states away. Deputies connected dots. 2 months prior, he'd fired a handyman named Carl Freyer for stealing tools. Freyer knew travel schedules, possibly copied keys, intended burglary assuming house empty. Power outage and teenagers' complicated plan. He hid, scouting basement while Gavin used stairs. When office search failed, he tried basement exit, saw us, left toolkit, and fled. Lightning masked initial break-in. Our presence delayed his window escape. Temporary board covered study window. Alarm installed. For weeks, a muddy boot print stained the carpet until cleaners came. But none of us forgot its shape, a warning that sleepovers can flip from almost adults to preyed upon witnesses in one thunderclap. I still analyze every overnight invite. Fun requires trust, and trust evaporates when blinds twitch at 3 a.m. and a stranger's eyes reflect flashlight glare, reminding you that basements with glass doors aren't safe, just because your friend's mom promised nachos and early night. Second year journalism major, but this happened back when I was 15 and age, where any house without parents felt like Disneyland. My best friend Zoe had exactly that. A creaky turn-of-the-century farmhouse. Her mom rented cheap because the previous owner passed away and half the upstairs still needed drywall. One October weekend, Zoe's mom went to a nurses' convention, leaving us the run of the place from Friday after school until Sunday dinner. The guest list stayed tight, just me, Zoe, and her cousin Bree, who was visiting from 2 towns over. 3 people meant we could swaddle ourselves in blankets on the living room floor, binge slasher DVDs, and eat cookie dough raw without a parent lecture. The house sat on 5 acres at the edge of town, reachable by a gravel track that dusted every car. Nearest neighbor, a retired couple half a mile east. Zoe always bragged the isolation kept drama away. But cell service crawled. If you stepped into the backyard, you lost bars completely. The interior smelled like cedar and faint mothballs. Kitchen lights flickered on a delay, and the upstairs hallway wall still showed square shadows where family photos used to hang. Friday evening, we spread sleeping bags near the fireplace, pizza boxes stacked like Jenga tiles. Zoe dug out an old bottle of sparkling cider. We clinked plastic cups and toasted to making memories. At 11, thunderstorms muscled and heavy, Midwest kind, that rattle window panes until the sash groans. Rain hammered the roof while lightning lit dusty rafters. We cackled through a low-budget zombie flick until the DVD froze mid-scream. Zoe slapped the player. Nothing. Power stayed on, but the disc refused. Bree suggested an old middle school game we'd half forgotten. One person hides upstairs, whispers the seeker's name until found, then switch. Seemed childish but perfect thunderstorm filler. We cut the downstairs lights, pocketed Zoe's dad's camping lantern, and rock, paper, scissored. I lost. Zoe counted to 60 by the fireplace while Bree and I padded toward the kitchen staircase, giggling. Bree dashed to the second-floor bathroom. I headed for the attic ladder pull-down style that creaked like floorboards complaining. The attic was technically off-limits. Zoe's mom stored boxes up there, but we peeked once. It smelled of insulation and forgotten Christmas. Soundproof enough for whispers. Lantern held low, I climbed. Wooden beams formed a low tent. Insulation peaked like cotton candy around plywood planks. At the far end, a single window looked over the gravel drive, glass fogged with age. I crouched behind a wardrobe box labeled "Kitchen Do Not Crush," switched the lantern to its dimmest setting, and waited. Downstairs, Zoe finished counting. Through floor gaps, I heard her call, I lie, voice sing-song. I whispered back just loud enough to mirror thunder. Rain softened, leaving the house in that post-storm hush where every drip echoes. Zoe's footsteps creaked above Bree's suppressed giggles. Plaster dust sifted, then silence. I whispered again. Same volume, nothing. A full minute passed. My knees complained. I shuffled weight, ankle cracking. That's when another whisper rose. Behind me in the attic, darkness soft, breathy and unmistakably male. I lie. I froze. Lantern light shook in my hand, throwing warped shadows over rafters. The girls were still downstairs. That voice materialized less than 4 feet away. I whipped around. Nothing but boxes. Heart sprinting, I convinced myself thunder had bounced Zoe's voice weirdly. I whispered again. The male whisper answered, closer, this way. The tone was light, coaxing, not mocking. I bolted. Lantern banged my knee as I crab-walked to the ladder, nearly missing rungs. As I clattered down, Zoe stood beneath, flashlight under her chin like a campfire ghoul. Found you, she chirped. My shout came out strangled. They saw my face and cut jokes. I confessed hearing a man's whisper. Bree's grin fell. Zoe argued sound travels funny in rafters. Maybe wind whistling. We flicked on every kitchen light, locked doors, and agreed game over. Zoe texted her mom, got the expected, "Stop scaring yourselves." Midnight ticked past. Rain returned gentler. We tried sleeping. All three lined up like sardines on the couch pullouts. Sometime after one, Aft dreamed a tap 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 on glass. Eyes snapped open. Front window. Second pane from left. Tree branches? No wind. Tap repeated steady. Finger rhythm. Bree stirred. Mumbled. Zoe slept through. I inched to the window. Heart still unsettled. Porch light bleached rain into silver rods, revealing nothing but muddy footprints leading off the deck into darkness. Back on the blanket, I pretended sleep. Cap ceased after minutes. Thunder never returned. Dawn broke hazy. Bree made strong coffee we pretended tasted good. We found fresh mud specks on the kitchen floor near the back door, ones we hadn't tracked the night before. Zoe blamed a leaky sill. Saturday afternoon brought sun. We set up a backyard picnic, filmed TikToks, tried forgetting creepiness. Zoe's mom texted she'd be home by lunchtime Sunday. As twilight spilled, we piled inside to watch vintage rom-coms. Power flickered again. Zoe reset breakers. At 10, I entered the downstairs half bath and noticed the window latch unhooked. A curl of paint missing from the sill. Sash raised 2 inches. Outside lay the same gravel path where phone service died. I latched it, told the girls. They double-checked doors. Zoe insisted her mom sometimes aired bathrooms. Midnight, storm clouds returned. We dragged sleeping bags up to Zoe's bedroom, safer than open basement. The room overlooked the front drive, window secured by 2 dowel rods. We pushed a dresser against the door anyway, laughed at our paranoia, and lay in a triangle atop the floor rug. Zoe put on ocean wave sounds to kill storm taps. I woke gasping from who knows what dream. Window panes glowed from a lightning flash. Rain hammered roof steeply above. Glancing across the room, I saw silhouettes. Bree by the closet, Zoe near dresser. Both slept. Silhouettes didn't move. That's when Ocean Sounds paused mid-crash. A faint click whined through speakers, Bluetooth disconnect. Total dark silence. Then the attic ladder groaned, audible through ceiling vent. A single footstep on hollow boards. Bree shot upright, eyes wide even in shadow. She'd heard it too. Zoe whispered, "Mouse?" Before we could reply, a male whisper filtered through ceiling. "Am I lie?" Voice stretched the syllables tenderly. Adrenaline exploded. Bree lunged for the door, shoved dresser aside. We barreled into hall. Just the second whisper came. Zoe. Lightning whitened the stairwell. We pounded down to the kitchen, grabbed the landline dead. Cell bars gone. Zoe remembered the neighbor's number taped to the fridge. Sprinted to call, but cordless base flashed no power. I scanned counters for weapons, settled on cast iron skillet. Bree clutched a carving fork. We backed toward front door when floorboards upstairs clapped footsteps pacing above, then attic ladder slammed into place. Whoever hid up there was moving. Car headlights swept gravel, outside salvation. We yanked door, screamed into rain. Headlights belonged to Zoe's mom. Conference ended early due to storm flooding. She sprinted in, soaked, found us hysterical. We choked out attic, whisper, footprints. She dialed 911 on charged work phone. Deputies arrived 13 minutes later, scaling attic with drawn flashlights. They found him, male, late 40s, wedged behind HVAC, clutching Zoe's mom's missing tablet set to record. He wore work overalls from the same HE company that serviced the house months earlier. Keys on belt, matched downstairs backdoor lock. He'd left shoe prints by the patio after nightly prowls, entered through the half-bath window when storms masked noise, nested in attic insulation between visits. Inside his backpack, deputies discovered energy bars, a USB of recordings dated back 3 weeks, and a pay-as-you-go phone filled with audio files of whispered names. He told police he preferred ambient life audio, claimed he never planned harm. But court filings say he bookmarked satellite images of other rural homes. Charges: burglary, felony eavesdropping, child endangerment. Shoe prints matched mud specks and gravel dust throughout the house. Zoe's mom replaced every window latch, installed motion lights. Sleepovers now happen at my apartment complex, 3 floors up, nowhere near attics. The phrase, "let's play hide and seek," still makes Bree flinch. I double lock bathroom windows nightly. And when thunderstorms cluster over the city, I mute every device. Scared silence might reveal a whisper pronouncing my name from crawl spaces. We never thought to check because once safety cracks open half an inch, anything curious, enough can squeeze through and record you right to the edge of sleep.